Some man was like saying, does the Bible like allows polygamy, right? I think some men think that's a good idea. I'm telling you, polygamy does not favor men, it favors women. Why? Because women only want the top 20%, okay, if they got a choice. But if polygamy still exists, then 80% of men will end up alone. Like they will never find a wife because all women will become wives and concubines to the top 20% of men. That's what it's gonna be. But so it's a foolish thing for a man to think that polygamy benefits men. It does not benefit men. And for the top 20%, it doesn't even benefit them because having a lot of wives is a huge problem. It creates so much conflict and dramas, and their children from different mothers murder each other, fight against each other. It's like you're living in a house that constantly have stripes, that constantly have this jealousy going on, and as a man, it's damaging to you as well. So it doesn't benefit men, and it definitely doesn't benefit the 80% of men. So once again, let's talk about Bathsheba. Um, this woman, I don't think David need to force her. Yeah, he is obviously very attracted to her. He was crazy, he's losing his mind, but he doesn't need to. On a man at his position, I mean, he can tempt her, he can seduce her, he can do everything he could. But to jump on her violently, raping her like a loser, no, David's not gonna do that. Especially if this woman is a woman of God, and she was firm in her belief, and she is loyal to her husband. She has a fear of the Lord. She is gonna not only, I'm telling you, she's gonna talk David out of this craziness. Okay, she's gonna stop this from happening. However, she's not. And you know why? Now let's discuss the Bible from the scripture, okay? So that was just like, I'm telling you, woman can sense that Bathsheba want David. She want David. I'm telling you, in that time, every woman know David. Bathsheba, I'm assuming, like 10 years younger, even 20 years younger than David. She grew up hearing his story, King David, who was anointed as a teenager and then killed Goliath single-handedly. And then, he became the king over all Israel, and he united Judah and Israel, become a united kingdom at the age of 30. David has been a legend in that whole land. Like everybody know that the Lord is with him. This man is also handsome. It was described in like First Samuel. The moment David walked in, there's a detailed description of David's appearance. I know you guys all said like right before David, Samuel went to David, the Lord said, men look at the outer appearance, but the Lord look at the heart. However, 2 verses after God said that, there's a detailed description of David's appearance that he said David has a very healthy complexion, like his skin tone is perfect, and he looks healthy. He looks energetic, and he has beautiful eyes. So David is a very handsome young man, and he also have all these legendary things about him. He's a skillful musician. He is a great warrior. He's also a legendary king. He was anointed. He was chosen. He got all this fluff on him. Okay, women want him. They admire him. They all wanted to be David's wife. And David, this is something I found it funny. I feel like he just loved to take other men's wife. And that's his problem. His first wife, Saul's daughter, Micah. I think I pronounced it wrong, but Saul's daughter, the previous princess. After David left the palace, Saul gave his daughter to another man, and after David became king, he took her back. It's like, this is my wife. But at that point, Micah was already married to another man. And then later on, he married Abigail after Abigail's husband died. And then Bathsheba also was after Bathsheba's husband died. So don't marry a woman that David got his eyes on, okay? Because you're gonna die and he's gonna take your wife. It's just hilarious. Okay, that's just for a joke. So, with all that being said, Bathsheba, in that setting, she won David, and her husband has always been working in David's army. I mean, you know, I know there's so many like alpha male people pretending to be alpha male that there's nothing about them that shows them they're alpha, okay, except they self-proclaim alpha male. But David was a literal alpha male. And let's look at the scripture, and this is where I can prove to you that it not only she was not raped, but she probably even seduced David. So this part is in 2 Samuel chapter 11. Okay, so we all know David tarried still at Jerusalem. So his army went out, but David didn't go with them. And a lot of preachers talk about this, like, you're supposed to be in the battlefield, and when you're not, you are tempted, you're facing temptation. They miss this. Okay, let's talk about verse 2. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself. And the woman was very beautiful to look upon. So we all know that woman was Bathsheba, right? But do you have this question in your head, like, why was she bathing on the roof? Okay, if you say, well, it's summer, it's just a nice thing to have the view, this outdoor bath experience. Well, but she was not just on anybody's roof. She was on the roof of the king's house. Why was she bathing on the roof of the king's house? So what that means is that she was taking a bath in the roof of David's house. So I can prove to you that is not her house, because why? Verse 9. Okay, so her husband show up. So David at this point already knew that Bathsheba had a child, was pregnant. And so he tried to cover it up, and he called her husband over and sent him home so that he might lay with his own wife and pretend, and then they can, cover it up. But this man, Uriah, okay, I probably pronounced it wrong, but Uriah, let's just call him Uriah. Verse 9, but Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. So that clearly shows you Uriah does not live in the king's house. He got his own house, and Bathsheba lived in his house as well. So Uriah slept at the door of the king's house that night, because he was a righteous man. And Bathsheba, when David found her, she was taking a bath upon the roof of the king's house. So why was she having a bath at the roof of the king's house? I'm just asking. I just have this question, So Bathsheba and Uriah did not live in the king's house. They got their own house. So why were you not taking this shower in your own house? Let alone, like, why would you take the bath on the rooftop? Who would do that? I mean, can you not see that there's a taller building, and if there's anybody in that building, they can look upon you and see you naked? I mean, was she stupid? Clearly she was not stupid, because how do we know that? She's the mother of Solomon. And later on you can see, when Solomon was about to take the throne of David, Bathsheba came to play. She showed that she's a woman who had a brain. If you read into the detail of that, she's not stupid. She knows somebody can see her. She know exactly where she was bathing herself in, and that is in the king's house. And she knew that David was tarrying, was left alone in that house. And if she took a bath on that roof, there is a chance that the king might see her naked. I know this sounds like conspiracy, but doesn't this make all the sense? I just don't believe that this woman is innocent. I just don't believe that she was raped. I think it's the opposite. Some people might think David it tempted her, forced her. Yeah, she definitely admired David, but it's still David's fault. Yeah, it's still David's fault because much is given, much is required. He should have known better. And obviously, David suffered all the consequences. But if you said this woman is just a victim, oh, poor Bathsheba, her husband got killed by this man who raped her, and now she was forced to be with him. Just wake up, people. You gotta wake up, okay? Don't let Christian sentimentality take away your intelligence, okay? That it just didn't happen. And also, I think this is a great reminder for men that a lot of men don't want to think in this way because you don't really know women. And I wouldn't say this is why, okay? You have to find a woman who fear God, who doesn't just know God. Because in a woman's mind, they always want a man like David. So how can you be sure that if she chooses you, she will stay faithful to you, especially if she is a very desirable woman? The only thing you can make sure is that if she fears the Lord, then she will not betray you, even if she got the opportunity, because she feared God. Because people might not know what she was doing, but the Lord always knows. And a woman who fears the Lord, she shall be praised. And it's a saying for women, fighting a man. You don't, there's some women are so interesting, like they date ugly men because they think they won't cheat. Well, that's not true. Cheating and physical appearance doesn't necessarily has an association. The only thing that make people think that is just because attractive people have more chance to cheat because there are many more temptations. However, it's the same thing. Like it's not that a man's ugliness does not give you the security that he will never cheat. Because an ugly man, once he got a chance, he will want to cheat even more because he's insecure about how attractive he is. And this happens a lot on rich, ugly men. Because ugly, poor men just never got the temptation anyway. But the only way you can be sure, the only source of security you have is the fear of God in this man. That if this man does not fear God, sooner or later, okay, it always depends on how big the temptation is. It always depends on what kind of situation he is in. It's all conditional. But there's only one thing that regardless of the condition, you can be sure this man would not do that, is that he fears the Lord. It's the same for men, it's the same for women. So I don't know. This is an interesting topic, isn't it? If you disagree with me, please leave a comment down below. Especially, I know some of you guys know a lot about this kind of history. Maybe you can explain it in a different way, but this is just my thought. So put a comment down below, and don't forget to like this video and share it to someone else and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, God bless you.